Beggar invited a rich girl on a date. She could not imagine what it would lead to. Hello friends. Sometimes two people are brought together by fate in such an astonishing way that can only be likened to a fairy tale movie. No one can actually ascertain the forces that pull two lonely people together. Is it just chance or destiny? Well, so long as the puzzle pieces fit and paints the perfect picture in a beautiful frame, no one has the power to change anything. This is exactly what happened to Emi Abrahamson. Before we proceed, please take 5 seconds to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our updates. Emi was born in a thriving and wealthy family. She grew up in her homeland in Sweden, and after finishing school, she moved to London where she graduated from university. She had the dream life, higher education, later worked as an actress in Amsterdam, and by the age of 29, she was a director and art director of an entire theater in Vienna. Apparently, everything in her life was perfect, but for the fact that she was lonely. Due to her work schedule, tours and business trips, she wasn't able to find her dream man. While her friends had been married for a long time and had children, Emi spent her evenings cold and lonely. As pretty as she was, men obviously paid attention to her. Maybe she had not found the right one yet. It was 2005 and Emi was already turning 29, with her birthday due in a week. For some reason, this did not make her happy in any way. To free her mind of sad thoughts, she decided to go on a vacation in Amsterdam. One day she was sitting on a bench waiting for her friend whom she planned on spending the evening with. While waiting, she watched as people walked by, mostly couples in love, and deep down she was envious. She was bored and had no one to share neither her good nor bad moments with. At that moment, she made a wish. After all, her birthday was in the days ahead. Who knows? Maybe her wish would come true. It was a fantastic moment which was spoiled by a poor fella. Emi noticed a homeless man approaching. She usually ran from such people. She had an unfounded fear for the homeless. The homeless person came closer to her, and with every step he took, Emi froze and could not move. Despite the fact that his whole face was almost covered with a beard, the homeless person turned out to be a young man. He was dirty and smelled so bad she could smell him from afar. As he came closer, he asked what time it was, even though there was a huge clock just opposite the bench. Looking at him in disorientation, she responded 5:30. As Emi recalls now, it was an inexplicable situation. I never made such acquaintances, moreover. I always stayed away from them, but I can't explain what happened that day. The guy's confidence was most striking because despite the social distance between us, he wasn't embarrassed at all. Since there was enough time and Emi was waiting for her friend, she decided to continue the conversation. Word by word, they led a conversation and she felt it was very easy for her to talk with him. He understood her completely and she couldn't stop looking into his eyes. Strange as it was, she felt very comfortable and the homeless man was admiring her beauty. Not more than 10 minutes into the conversation, Emi's friend approached. This entire time, people looked surprisingly at the couple. Before leaving, the homeless man named Vic jokingly made an appointment at the same place after 5 days. His confidence was dazzling and electrifying. Normally, the girl did not plan to come on the appointed day, and obviously the homeless man will forget about it. But the following week, she could not stop thinking about Vic. Walking at a slow pace, she decided to pass by the same shop in order to watch from afar whether the homeless man would come for the meeting. Surprisingly, he was already there, sitting and waiting for her. Their next meeting was quite fine. They talked lengthily about life and got to know much more about each other. With a smile, Emi now recalls the homeless man getting ready, and he even washed a bit, though his face and hand nails were awfully dirty. He arrived on a small, almost childlike bicycle and was holding a suitcase, which as I thought was only possible for lunatics. Then I found out that inside were his sleeping bag and a can of beer. That same evening, Vic said he had once traveled to Europe, but the money ran out quickly and things didn't work out as he planned. He came from the USA and he had no parents. Whenever he got small earnings, he would waste it on alcohol, even though he admitted it was a bad habit. He could not do anything about it, so he ended up in the streets. Additionally, he had lived in the park for more than a year. Vic understood that he was just a homeless alcoholic, but when he saw Emi, something changed inside of him. Since that day, he had not drunk alcohol. They talked right into the evening. Vic had a great sense of humor and Emi felt very easy with him. At the end of the evening, Emi said she was returning to Vienna the next day. She did not know if they would ever meet again, and she left him her phone number and politely left. While in Vienna, she did not stop remembering him, a kind of holiday romance. But he is in Amsterdam and she is in Vienna. On her 30th birthday, the phone rang in her house and she reluctantly picked up expecting to hear another congratulation, but instead, she heard Vic's familiar voice. Her heart started beating faster. He just said, "Hi, I remembered that you had a birthday, so I decided to congratulate you personally." She expected to hear simple words of congratulations, but he surprised her by saying he wanted to go and visit her. Shocked as she was, she understood he was near her house. She asked how he had come, and Vic answered, "I arrived by train." He planned to come 2 days earlier, but he was detained by the police for stealing a chicken in a store. She remembers that day her whole life because since then, Vic and Emi have been inseparable. Vic settled at her house and started looking for a job. From the moment they first met, Vic absolutely did not drink alcohol. He changed so much in a month that no one could see a homeless person and him. Having overcome many routine delays, Vic and Emi got married after 2 years. He worked as an electrician at first and in 6 years they had twins. The man took this as a challenge and now he had to work even harder because he felt much more responsible as a man and father in the family. He started a small repair company and 15 years have passed since then. The couple is doing well and even though the children know how their parents met, they still don't understand the details. They just found it funny that their dad used to live on a bench. Consequently, Emi wrote the book How to Fall in Love with a Man Who Lives in the Bush. After all, she literally found her happiness under the bush. Together, they appeared on the British channel and gave an interview in which they talked about the book and the story of their love. As Emi herself says, "For all these years, I have never regretted that I came to that meeting. We've never even fought, and he is such a husband that I've dreamed of all my life." We all have our own love stories and share a connection with our partners. This story doubtlessly proves it. Tell us what you think about this unusual couple and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can be notified when we upload other videos.